Okay, guys, I think let's get started. As I mentioned, we have a lot to cover. And what are some of the topics that we are covering today? So first of all, we want to make sure that we are on the same page on what CDPs are and maybe what they are not as well, and how do they differ with some other abbreviations or combinations of three letters. Then we want to talk about the actual value for customer retention and personalization that CDP provides, and not only actually for retention, so also some other things. Then we will cover quickly one of the case studies from our side on a really exciting integration that we have been doing. One of the few ones, or one of the several ones. Then we will also try to really help you guide you through on the considerations for choosing a CDP platform. There are many out there, and it's not an easy decision for sure. And so we will try to tell you a little bit about how this process goes and how the decisions need to be made for the most appropriate CDP solution. And yeah, so that's basically the last two topics. And I am at the moment a little bit skeptical actually that we will fit into the 45 minutes for all of this, but let's see. And then the second part will be about also Q&A. So we will try to answer any of the questions that come up during the webinar. But we will try not to have the session interrupted, so we will cover the questions in the end. So let's get started. So one of the things that we have also from scandiweb side been doing is really listening to challenges and to merchants. So we are organizing events, getting together people that are in the industry and really having quite honest discussions about challenges that merchants are facing, e-commerce merchants, omnichannel retailers, etc. And just trying to understand what's the feeling of overall ecosystem, what are some of the problems that people face, and how, and try to also provide some of the ways how they can be solved. And we have heard a lot of different challenges. A lot of different challenges, starting from stock management, from product information management, from customer experience, from data integrations, etc. And actually, when we look at some of them, we actually see that a lot of them can either be fully solved using CDPs or customer data platforms, or at least go a way towards actually solving them. So and we will also go through some of the examples in this, but generally what we see across our merchants, or generally merchants in the industry, is having difficulties in measuring marketing spends, having lack of offline data utilization for some business decisions or marketing decision making, having difficulties in doing proper product recommendations, or having just the data scattered across different platforms and really losing trust maybe in this data as well, because you get a lot of these data sources that you can look at, and they show different numbers, and then eventually you are really losing trust in the data for decision making. So those are some of the things that are part of also CDP use cases, so we will be covering them. And today with you will be me. So me, Reinis, I'm head of data and analytics here in scandiweb, and been here for a very long time. So have seen a lot of also business cases, markets, merchants, challenges, and have helped several of our clients in solving a lot of the data and analytics challenges. And we also have Alina joining here, who has been also quite a time now already in scandiweb, and she's an analytics engineer and a CDP specialist as well, who has a lot of hands-on experience actually dealing with a lot of the challenges that come up during the integration process, and generally getting to leverage the CDP platform for solutions, or finding bugs and fixing them, and things like that. Good. So let's start with maybe a scenario. So imagine you wake up and you see an email, right? All of us, I guess, have emails, and we read emails, and the email says, hey, happy Dogs Day, 30% off dog food and dog toys. Great, right? Good deal, good deal. But imagine you have a cat, and this email message is completely wrong. And they should know it, right? Because you have been using you have their loyalty card, you've been going to the brick and mortar stores, you have been going to the e-commerce store, purchasing a lot of cat products, food, toys, beds, and things like that. And you also purchased once a gift for a friend's dog, and now they are sending you emails or offers for dog products. So that's not good. That's not good. And actually, what also research shows is that a lot of consumers actually unsubscribe when the content really fails to align with their preferences or behaviors. So what they have done or how they have engaged with your brand. And if the messaging that we do is completely off and kind of not relevant to us, we nowadays really don't expect it, because we have a lot of other platforms. We have Spotify, we have YouTube that are so good that really understand us and provide this really personalized experience. So people expect that merchants and businesses do the same. And this is also what we kind of strive for, with CDP platforms. If we look at sort of typical omnichannel business customer touchpoints, you will have a lot of different platforms that will usually have integrations to collect data. So you might have a product recommendation tool or engine, which you will need to feed some data. So you might feed them transactional data, you might feed them behavioral data. Then you will have your point of sale system for your retail store, which will collect data as well on orders and hopefully also customer identifiers. You'll have your web analytics platforms, you'll have your email marketing platforms, and all of them generally have the same. So all of them collect data in their way or have some data integrations. And of course, this is a very simplified view. And this kind of leads to some of the problems that generally merchants are facing. And one of the biggest problems that leads to all the other problems, all the business kind of use case problems, is fragmented customer data across platforms. So that typically is the main cause of not being able to do really good product recommendations, really good segmentation for email marketing, and that overall leads to kind of low customer retention. So people actually leaving you because the kind of the experience is not at the level they want to. And overall, it also creates inefficient decision making in companies, and it can lead to the data being siloed. So people again have this distrust in the data, and they kind of don't want to make the decisions based on it because they don't trust it. So that's quite typical use case as well, what we are hearing quite a lot from our clients as well. And so what the hell is a CDP? So maybe if somebody hasn't yet heard what is a CDP, and maybe why should you also care about it? It's essentially a solution to try and unify all of these customer touchpoints into a single platform. So this is taking data and having integrations from your e-commerce, taking data from your retail stores, taking data from your mobile applications, email interactions, web applications, taking third-party data, taking live chat interactions and customer kind of service interactions, and unifying all of that. So trying to get really this full picture of your customer interactions with the brand, their their history of their behaviors, their purchasing behaviors, etc. But then you might ask, but okay, we already have a CRM and we have a data management platform and we have a data warehouse, and how is CDP really different? We do there are certain features that overlap for sure, or some functionalities that overlap across these different platforms. But if we look, and we have also this table, and I don't want to go really too much into detail, but we can look at kind of the primary use cases of these different other solutions or platforms. And so data warehouse is typically for BI reporting, for more complex analytics, for some data mining. So kind of centralizing batches of organizational data in one place, cleaning it, etc., using it for some decision making. Then you have data management platforms. This is mostly for anonymous user data used for targeting in advertising platforms, in programmatic advertising. You have CRM. This is typically for tracking sales data and tracking more customer level, individual level data about where they are from, what has their engagement been. So this is more also focused on kind of the B2B side, and it's mostly done for sales pipeline management. While CDP kind of covers quite a few of these use cases as well, but the main kind of use cases is personalized experiences. It's cross-channel orchestration of messaging and kind of marketing. It's to provide analytics and BI as well, and to have customer service enablement, so more personalized customer service. And let's go back to the CDPs and really dig deeper into it and look how it works, how it provides the business value. So you might have, so one of the really key functionalities of a CDP is profile unification or identity resolution. And just to showcase what it might be, so there might be a customer who is making telephone sales, signing up for newsletters, doing login with email, CRM records, web purchases, third-party data, and they might be using different email addresses. They might be writing their names differently. They might be not even kind of authenticating initially, so being anonymous users, etc. And what CDP does is really at the core of it sits this profile unification, and we will talk about it more as well. So eventually what it does, the outcome is that you get a really full customer profile where this data is unified and you see all of these interactions in one place. And this is my theory or theorem, how I like to also look at it. So the more touch points your business has in terms of also sales channels generally, or kind of the main owned channels that you have as a company, as an organization, the bigger the value really of the customer unification. So if we have e-commerce, if we have retail where we are able to actually identify the people because we have a loyalty system or loyalty card, we have mobile application where people are either purchasing or using the products that we have. We can have seller platforms that are more for B2B purposes or contractors. We can have marketplaces. So then once you have more of these kind of separate different platforms and different channels, and you are not kind of unifying all of these touch points into a single view, this is a really big problem. So of course, even with only one channel, even if you have only e-commerce, it's already extremely valuable to be able to gather the email engagement, the web engagement, the purchasing history into one place, and then use that for segmentation and activation. But imagine if you have like 4 or 5 of these different channels, then kind of the value is even bigger. And again, about some of the key features, what customer data platforms really take care of. So first of all, it's data ingestion and integration. So this is connecting to all of the multiple data sources. And this also includes typically a layer for data quality management. So you kind of make sure that you ingest data in the platform that is cleaned, high quality, or kind of the platform helps to clean it. And there are also compliance features. So of course, we need to take care of privacy and compliance. Then, as I mentioned, this key really aspect of customer data platforms, identity resolution. So being able to take different types of customer identifiers that they leave across their journey with your brand. So signing up for emails, making purchases, making guest purchases, then making kind of authenticated purchases with an account already. So being able to really consolidate all of this and create this unified profile. And also then deduplicate the other profiles, right? If we are also not doing this, we are nowhere close to actually knowing our accurate metrics for how many customers do we even have, right? Because we might be looking at one actual person, and they might be having 5 different identifiers in our platforms. So then audience segmentation. So once we have these profiles identified, we actually can do really deeper segmentation that we can do. It can be also calculated rule-based segmentation. It can be AI-driven audiences. It can be cross-channel, basically these audiences for cross-channel activation. It can be based on levels of customer lifetime values, right? So you might want to have different marketing messages for different levels of customer engagement. Then it's the connection to the destination platforms. So connecting and actually activating this data. So this is another very important part, because if we simply have the data, we could have it in a data warehouse, but we really need to be activating this data. And this can be done in the activation channels. So email, SMS, media, so paid media platforms, etc. And then also really getting this analytics and insights and learning more about our customers, learning more about their purchasing behaviors, how frequently they make purchases, what products they are into, so we can really also advance our marketing strategies with this data. Because usually without the CDP platforms, we also kind of have it very, very skewed, very, very skewed understanding of who are our customers and how do they engage with us. So let's look at some of the value that CDPs generate, and of course, one of the main kind of focus areas is customer retention and personalization. So working with our existing customer base and what sort of features and marketing use cases we have. Again, so some of the benefits. Unified customer data, doing personalization, so leveraging this customer data to make better product recommendations, make better personalized marketing, improve decision making, and enhance customer lifetime values and loyalty. So this is again trying to tackle this issue of us not being able to do this properly at the moment if we have this fragmented data. Of course, we need to take into account compliance and data privacy. So this is one of the also core aspects in most of the CDPs that they want to make sure that all of the kind of solutions that we do or engagement that we do is also compliant and we don't get into any troubles. And generally, what we see actually across a lot of merchants is still that a lot of data reporting, a lot of functions, business functions are still manual. A lot of things are done in spreadsheets, and it takes really a lot of time for a lot of our merchants, especially if you have these fragmented different channels, etc. So really, it also helps to increase operational efficiencies and save time and increase trust in the data as well. If we look at generally the industry and what are some of the statistics, and we are not yet doing very wide kind of surveys or researches ourselves, but there are plenty of other organizations that do this. And there are a lot of different approaches how to do it as well. A lot of them are based on surveying just e-commerce managers, marketing managers, and really leaders in merchant, like in retail as well. And what we see is generally, again, this time spent on segmentation, on customer journey, on reporting tasks, it decreases a lot. So people can actually spend more time in analyzing the data and using those insights that they come up with in building the strategies instead of building the reports that they need to provide either to management or they need themselves, right? So it really helps to decrease the time spent on these things a lot. It, on average, is providing 2.9%, so three times more revenue growth for merchants that use CDPs instead of the ones that don't use it. So it's a critical part if we want to grow our businesses. So this without it, it's very difficult. And generally, most of the merchants that after implementing a CDP, they really also see a major ROI of this investment. So for sure, it's an investment, but it really comes back with more revenues, better customer retention, and all of the aspects that really, in almost all the cases, at least also what we have seen, it provides way more value than initial investment. And actually, for one of our clients, this type of kind of improvement came only from one use case, So getting it was performance marketing use case. So having actually more segmented, better targeted advertising led them to kind of tripling having triple revenue growth based on just this segment. So kind of offsetting the investment in initial CDP integration and the costs of running it, of course. Then CDPs and AI. So of course, AI is quite important at the moment. So it provides so many use cases how we can do business better, how we can do a lot of things better, generally, not only business. And of course, CDPs also leverage a lot of these functionalities. Some of the things that have been there actually for a while already. So and what we want to show, and these are also already very well integrated with a lot of the CDP platforms, is predictive audiences and predictive analytics. So predicting customer behaviors and kind of scoring them for their likelihood to churn, likelihood to conversions, predicting their lifetime values, and using this then in segmentation and marketing communication. These features are generally available across most of the CDPs, but just to name a few, there's Segment, Salesforce Data Cloud, Bloomreach, Treasure Data, and you can do optimal time sense for emails. So kind of a lot of the prediction value or prediction functionalities are built in already in most of the CDP platforms and can be used. So you don't need to build any advanced models in your data warehouse or whatever. Then customer unification and identity resolution. So this again is not generally that simple. So you can have many different rules for identity resolution and unification. And CDP platforms, with the help of AI, provide different matching precisions. So let's say there is low precision matching, so this is a case of Salesforce Data Cloud, low precision, medium precision, and high precision matching. And you can have names spelled differently. You can have first names, middle names, last names. You can have emails with capitalization, without capitalization, a lot of these things. So AI really, with the help of CDP platforms and the underlying data, help to make a really good identity resolution and unification of customer profiles. And then a lot of the use cases are also centered around the personalization and how to actually do this really personalized marketing and engagement and messaging. And so this is, again, predicting different next best actions that can be leveraged for different customer segments or for individuals themselves. So this is for product recommendations, for content, for what sort of marketing message to send. And this can be also integrated dynamically on each customer level as well. So this can be quite powerful once scaled across the data or the customer database. Then there's also dynamic customer segmentation that can be helped with the AI. There is customer journey orchestration and optimization. Bloomreach does this very well. So building optimized multi-channel customer journeys in real time. So helping you actually build the journey itself for the engagement by also just chatting with it. So that's really great. Again, big time saver, and helps you do a lot of automated journeys at scale. Then generally what also, of course, needs to be considered is data cleansing and enrichment. Not a very sexy topic, but really important. Really important because, again, the quality of the data that goes into this is really important as well to even make it work. Then okay, next topic is actually what we want to cover, some of the practical cases and things from one of our clients. And this was a luxury fashion retailer from New York. And they really have been leveraging CDPs actually for a while. And we have also helped them with a project as well. And what was their context is generally for luxury itself, the demands of the customers are even higher than for other types of e-commerce merchants, if you're like a sports retailer or electronics. So the level there, because of the prices as well, is the prices are high. So the level of customer experience, the kind of customer engagement, the customer service needs to be very high as well. So there are very high demands. And in their case, they had also this case of multiple channels, right? So they have multiple e-commerce channels with kind of main stores, outlet stores, international stores, etc. Then they have retails, so actual physical locations with more than 20 different flagship and boutique stores. And they also have stylists, both employed as well as contractor stylists, that have this one-to-one customer engagement and are actually kind of helping the customers make the decisions about the fancy clothes that people will buy. And this is very important for having this personal approach. And of course, when you have these many channels and different kinds of ways how people can engage, and this is only a couple of the main kind of channels, right, where business really can be generated, where orders can also be created, you have also a lot of identifiers per customer, and you need to be able to unify it. So one of the key parts when you unify all of this data is to also look at the different calculated traits, or something that you usually don't get out of the source platforms themselves, because you first need to run this identity resolution and unify the profiles. And some of them may be examples of really how to look at segmentation, how to look at marketing strategy, how to look at the customer theory that we have, and how to really better understand our customers. Is, of course, to look at simple things as well to start with, to look at orders, to look at lifetime orders, to look at orders in the last 12 months, to look at last 24 months, to look at how these trends change. When was the last order placed? When was the first order placed? How long are they customers with us? These type of things. Then revenues, similarly, so lifetime revenues, last 12 months revenues, so you really know how each customer is kind of trending in terms of their business that they do with you. You want to look at generally the orders that they place. So what are the average order values? What are the average selling prices for products that they are purchasing? What are the average discount rates? What are the also the rates of returns, which is another actually big topic. So nowadays there is big part of orders that are being returned and refunded. Then you can look at email engagement, so you know also if it even makes sense to try and engage with these customers via email. So you look at how they are opening emails, if they are clicking emails, what content really speaks to them. You look at web engagement, so what are they doing on the websites, what products they are, what categories they are browsing, what products they are browsing, so we can tailor our later on messaging based on that. And importantly, also looking at preferences. So actually understanding what each customer prefers in terms of size. So not like that's maybe not a preference, but that's just like a way things are. So what are your actual sizes? What are your preferred colors? So what you typically want to purchase? What are your clothing pieces generally that you want? Is it blouses? Is it trousers that you buy most? And what are generally the styles? Also, what are your preferred stylists, right? You might be engaging with quite a few different stylists, or you have a one selected one, so you really need to know also who to recommend or who to encourage to get in touch with that specific customer. You also can see what are the preferred retail stores, right? Where are these people actually shopping? And preferred channels, so where are they making purchases? Maybe they are browsing online, maybe and then going to the retail, or vice versa. And generally many other traits that really help to understand both like each customer, and then also the second part, which is actually building this segmentation. And this is the part that usually comes into also kind of business intelligence, but then also the activation part of this data. And for them, for example, there are a couple of just examples that we can share that are nice use cases. So for example, they have the full price and off price customers. So there will be people that are the value kind of shoppers, the price value shoppers that only will do orders when products are discounted. And there are generally that type of people profiles, probably some of the people that are on the webinar as well. Like they typically will be buying something only if it's on sale. But then there are people that always want to get the newest, the most expensive, the most fancy thing. So then again, you really need to know these segments and tailor your communication based on that to these customers as well. Then, of course, you need to take into account what are the revenue trends generally for these customers. Are they becoming more active? Are they spending more, or the vice versa? So you know also how to tailor then messaging based on that. You look at customer statuses. This is again something that a lot of customers can't do because they don't have this unified customer profiles and all of these touch points. But you can then look at new customers, who are the lapsed customers who haven't made, or like who were active but haven't made any orders in last 12 months, for example. You can look at inactive customers that are not placing orders for even a bigger time. Reactivated customers, unidentified people that are maybe just browsing our websites, and you kind of can tailor then the marketing messaging based on that. Then location-based segments. So where are people actually located? So you can, in this specific case, they were also sending out or organizing different luxury exclusive on-site events, presentations of new how are they called? New styles, new somehow forgot the word. But so you kind of can invite these people that make sense, that are close to you. And again, these product preferences, that's something very, very kind of specific use case that you can use a lot in email communication, in campaigns, but also in automation. So what products really to offer them based on what they have done in the past. So in the example of also cat versus dog products, you would really know, is this person more likely having a dog or a cat, and really then tailoring this product recommendations based on that. And if we look at the overall data infrastructure, so not going too much into detail, but it's generally quite complex. So there are typically the ERP systems, the point of sale systems, the e-commerce systems that go through a custom middleware to keep track of all the customers, all their changing profile informations, all the orders that they do, all the returns that they do, etc. There are some static files that are usually fed in to advance also the segmentation that we want to do. There is, in their case, also clienteling tool, which might not be the case very popular for usual merchants, but it is for luxury e-commerce. So you need the people in the stores to really have this personal engagement and also know the customer preferences based on their previous purchases. We have a BI platform, we have email marketing platform, and all of this kind of goes through into the CDP platform. And it also goes out actually to the data warehouse as well, to the data storage, and also so the web engagement data comes from TMS systems usually. So this is Salesforce Data Cloud CDP. And what are generally the business outcomes? So they have really done well in terms of revenue growth, and they have been doubling revenues in a 5-year time span. So it's not maybe 300% increase in revenue in a year, but it generally is something that helps to generate revenue. What they do really well is they have 85% of their revenue generation from re-engagement of existing customers. And I believe that in your cases as well, a lot of the revenue is coming from existing customers. So there are, of course, business models where you mostly rely on new customer acquisition. But generally, in most cases, most of the revenue is generated by your loyal and existing customers. So that's, again, why really this personalized experience and reducing these churns is super critical if we want to grow our businesses. Then a big share of their online revenues are coming from the owned channels that they have. So some of them that they control. So this is email and SMS engagement, both automations and campaigns. So there's less reliance on paid advertising and less spend that you need to do. So you kind of really leverage your customer database. What we see across a lot of other merchants that don't have CDPs is they might be generating 1, 2, 3% of their revenues from their emails and SMS. Then again, this personalized or hyper personalized customer service, as well as in-store experience, knowing all the customer preferences. Then automated business reporting and insights, saving really hundreds of hours of manual time that used to take a lot of manual time and a lot of people to do. Now it's all kind of automated and at their fingertips. And generally being able to really make smarter decisions in terms of marketing, in terms of advertising strategies that they do, because they have this in-depth customer knowledge and they know really their customer segments. They know how do they engage, what are the typical new customer journeys, what do they purchase, etc., etc. So they know all of this very well. So they can also then tailor the messaging based on that. And good. So that's about our case study. How are we doing with time? Okay, we are already quite late. As imagined. So then let's go through some of the decisions that go into choosing a CDP platform and which are the platforms that are worth considering. And this is also, again, based on our experiences. And we have worked with quite several different platforms, and we will cover generally the process and yeah, how to pick a CDP without needing therapy afterwards, because yeah, it's a challenging process. So generally, first of all, there are two types of CDPs. There are traditional and composable CDPs. For us today, we are focusing more on the traditional CDPs, but we will cover also just slightly to tell you about what is the concept of composable CDPs as well. So generally, the decision is between buy. That's for traditional CDP. So you kind of pay for the solution for a lot of these functionalities and use cases, or composable is about just building the system yourself with using different types of tools. And generally, there's no size fits all. That's important to take into account. So again, traditional CDPs, it's usually all in one package platform. It requires or kind of connects to your data sources. A lot of it can be done easily. It handles all the data modeling, identity resolution, segmentation. So it has features and interface to do that within the platform. And this is the way how it's much easier to get started with CDP platforms. And generally, it's the most popular way, unless you have a big data team that doesn't have anything to do and they are ready to build all of this fully custom. And this composable CDP, so this is really when you have very, very custom use cases. You need to do very custom activations or data wrangling or adjustments. And so this is sort of more also modular and flexible setup. So you can kind of adjust the different parts of it to really fit your business cases. There are separate tools generally that you use for example, data activation. So there's like high touch that you can use. And you overall have more control over everything that is happening. But again, it's more complex, and it can again lead to actually this fragmentation, because the data people will only be able to know how to use certain parts of it or make adjustments. And when we look at generally how many CDP platforms are there on the market, there are more than 200. 200. So it's a jungle out there, and it's really not easy to choose the best one. So again, a couple of things that we can help you to kind of go in the right direction. And yeah, researching them all is really crazy, and it takes a lot of time. They are all saying the same things generally. But here are a couple of points from our side how we can pick wisely. So what are some of the factors to consider when choosing a CDP? And this is, again, hard-won wisdoms from the trenches of CDP implementations. That's where kind of we are at. So usually how we also do it, it's again a difficult decision. So we usually take an extensive kind of discovery research and alignment with the actual business use cases and your business specifics to really figure out what will be the best fit for you. So some of the factors is, of course, you need to take first of all into account what are the business use cases that you want to optimize or use from CDP. It can be quite easy to think, okay, I need all of it, but maybe you actually don't need all of it. So maybe you don't need to do, or you're not aiming yet to do maybe personalized web content. So having personalized, I don't know, home pages for every customer. So you don't need maybe this in-store personalized experience. So you really need to understand what you need. First of all, what will be the business use cases that you want to leverage from CDPs, because the CDPs can differ in types of use cases they cover, either like within the platform itself or having partner platforms. Then very, of course, important factor is pricing. So that's quite clear for business leaders. We always need to consider what is the pricing and also compare it to a lot of our existing tools and platforms that we use that potentially some of the CDP's solutions can help to replace. So it's also actually considering what are the possible cost savings. But generally, the CDP platforms also have very different pricing models or kind of billing models, and they can differ from monthly tracked users. It can depend on just generally how much data volume you process. It can depend on events that you are ingesting into the platform, etc. So you really need to figure out this pricing mechanism and what will fit your use case. And there can be a lot of kind of hidden costs as well. So you can have limitations in terms of, let's say, the activations that you can do included in the contract. So we have seen also that. So generally you build the whole system, but then you see that in your contract you are not able to build more than 3 activations if you don't extend your agreement. So that can be a problem. There can be some features that are locked on inside kind of premium functionality and require additional costs. And then what you also need to be careful is that you need to look at some of like the contract lengths and whether they anticipate or kind of already predict the like the business growth that will come out of it. So let's say if you have a pricing model that is based on events that you consume, the bigger your customer kind of pool gets, and the more they are engaging, and maybe the more you want to track them as well, the bigger the costs will be. And if you kind of, let's say, reach over some of these levels, you can have overcharge fees as well, and you don't want to generally get there. So usually you also want to kind of look at the scenario where your business really grows, and you are and kind of the CDP agreement that you have still fits that model. Privacy and compliance. So this is, of course, very important. We don't want to get we also want to really have trust from our customers, and we want to really be still building these personalized solutions. So taking good care of privacy and compliance is really important. And there are different levels at which CDP platforms actually have functionalities and tailor this. Of course, everybody has all the kind of core things to take into account: consent statuses for email engagement, etc. But there are kind of limits in terms of or differences between the platforms. Again, overall, most of them will have decent solutions for this. Then what we have, so data source.
Is
Sorry. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's yeah. So Alina will also help to jump in here as well and explain some of the kind of also technical side of choosing really what will be the best fit.
Yep, so the data integration side. Seeing what kind of data source connections the platform provides is very, very important, because sometimes you do not want to go wild with the cloud infrastructure setup for yourself. So connecting everything to, let's say, AWS and then connecting that to the CDP. So then you may want to connect directly from those platforms to the CDP. Then you have to study and you have to do your research to see, okay, will I be able to do this connection with this platform? And then let's go to the next slide. Yep, this one. Connecting directly can be nice, but in some cases, the data you have in the platforms directly is not exactly what you need. And in many real-world cases, you want to do data transformations. But the situation with CDPs is that many of them do not provide you very advanced data transformations capabilities, and many just expect you to do everything yourself before you send data into the CDP. So the next slides will cover the most common transformations you may have to do. So step one is standardization. So you have data in different formats, you transform it to a single format. And one of the very common cases we see is phone numbers. There are a lot of platforms that collect this data, and these platforms can expect different formats of data. And in some cases, people enter the phone numbers themselves, and that's where you can see a lot of variability. And especially if you want to use this data for analysis or for identity resolution, you may want to standardize that. So you can see the first three examples. They're more or less clear how to standardize that. And the last one, you don't have the country part. But let's say if you have the column with the country of delivery, then you can take this, utilize some logic, and then you can have everything in one format. And the example number two is addresses. Again, you may want to use that for identity resolution. You may want to use that for analytics to see everything in one format. And that's where you may also see the main patterns and transform that. And some other cases is, let's say, the casing of people's names. Some people just enter everything in lowercase, and that's where you can just use a transformation. Okay, everything first letter, capital case. And the next slide, blacklisting. If you work with customer data, you may know that some people love to enter data which is garbage, which is not true. And in many cases, it is understandable. However, this is not something based on which you want to unify profiles and based on which you want to analyze people. Let's say in resolution of identities, you see the phone number of all zeros and you mention the phone number, and then you can unify a lot of profiles. So first step, before you implement the data integrations, you have to do a data analysis. And in the key data types like country, phone numbers, names, etc., you have to look for patterns and see, okay, what is happening? Do we have people entering zeros for phone numbers? Do we have them entering the same number everywhere? Do they enter stuff like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc.? So in this case, when the data is obviously fake, you can just set a pipeline to make it return nulls or blanks, and you don't analyze that. You can have the data for events, let's say the order feed, and it's going to have this original data, but the data that you pass to resolution of identities, you need to blacklist some data. And next one. Um, this is, it can depend what kind of enrichment you may want to have, but let's look at this example. You may have the full name and you can have, let's say, the first name and last name. And some people enter their middle names. And a lot of people enter their middle names in different formats, like just one letter, the full name, no middle name. And if you have the data in this way and you use identity resolution, which is pretty rigid, if it's like that in your CDP, then it can cause you some problems. So you may want to do some transformations and split the names into full names into first names, middle names, last names, and utilize additional rules and unify identities. And then the number four, this is a simple one. So in many cases, you may want to transform the data sources you have into a smaller data streams. Let's say you have a whole order feed that has a lot of data about the order and also a lot of data about the customer, and you have it just in the order feed. Let's say in CDPs like Salesforce Data Cloud, you can have data streams of certain types. It's either events or profiles, and you're limited in how you work with them. So you may want to just split the feed into event and profile and work with that. And the next slide. Yeah, choice factor data activation targets. Mostly, you are not going to have problems with that, but study where you want to send your data, uh, and how you want to work with that data in advance. Because here's an example of what we saw at work. Let's say we have the Salesforce Data Cloud CDP, one profile, but the situation is that this unified ID is not stable. So one day it's like this, then some new data appears in the CDP, and this unified random ID, it just changes. But we also had the expert do a clienteling tool, and it relied on this unified ID as on the primary key. One day we sent one expert with this key, the other day we sent this expert with this key, and its duplication in the activation target just plan that. But we with Reinis found some analysis on the internet, and Data Cloud CDP is one of the few who has this instability with primary keys. So yeah, and what we mentioned a lot of times is identity resolution. This is a very important factor to plan in advance because a lot of CDPs are very different. So you have to plan on what fields you can use in the resolution, uh, whether you can add custom fields, whether there's any limitation on data types. This is very important. Then the matching types you can have, whether you can have just exact matches or some small fuzziness, or you have the resolution models, uh, which have ML models implemented into them. And in some cases, you may want to have some very specific IDR rule set, and you want to import it into your CDP. You develop it outside, but you import that. So this is very important. And then Radius.
Yeah, good. So another factor, quite important one, is also to consider the ease of user interface. So kind of the UI for business users, because it's not only the data people that will be typically using. So you will have email marketing specialists, PPC specialists, CRM, sales representatives, just generally e-commerce managers that will use the CDP. So it needs to be intuitive in that case for all of these people to be able to really leverage the platform, because again, you can have the best tools possible. I don't know, you do woodworking and you have all the amazing saws and everything, but if you really don't know how to use them, then it's a big problem. uh, then good documentation and educational resources, again, quite important for having supporting materials for the team so that they can actually learn how to work with the platform. And not all of the platforms have this on a very good level, so it's important to consider before going with a certain platform. So usually there's also like bonus points if the platforms have their own kind of academies for some of the best practices, how to really leverage different types of specific use cases, examples, and things like that. So that's important. Another important factor. Inadvertently, you will get into situations where you need support. So there can be bugs, there can be kind of things that don't make sense based on the identity resolution rule sets or other aspects of the CDP, where you will need to engage with the customer data platform, like with the support. And so you need to consider how good support it is, and we have example of quite a few cases at the moment, but you can also do online reviews of how the customer support is for the different CDP platforms, and you generally want it to be helpful, quick, and good quality support. Then let's look at some of the CDPs on the market quickly. So also providing some of the sources where what you can use yourself to kind of make those decisions. So there's Gartner, of course, providing also Magic Quadrant for CDPs on the market. What they generally see as the leaders in CDP solutions is Salesforce, it's Telium, it's Treasure Data, and Adobe. There's also Twilio here, so Segment. And a bunch of other ones. So you will also receive the slide deck, so you will be able to access this link as well. Then there is a Customer Data Platform Institute that provides a lot of valuable information for really figuring out your use cases, figuring out what are the vendors that can help you, generally figuring out the value that is provided by CDPs, the different types of CDPs, etc. So this can be a very valuable resource. One thing we need to note maybe is that it cannot be like treated fully. Like you need to still have some carefulness with what you read there, because still some of the content there can be sponsored, so you kind of need to take that into account. And now some of the CDPs that we have experienced, and we can share some knowledge. So we have been working with Salesforce Data Cloud. Overall, it's a really good and flexible platform. It's really good for integrating with the other Salesforce tools that you have. So if you are already on Salesforce, you are leveraging CRM, you are leveraging Marketing Cloud, you have other products that they offer, so that can really make a good decision to go with Salesforce Data Cloud. It has a quite flexible data model, so it can fit many different business use cases. So not only retail, merchants, etc., but also travel industry. So a lot, like the data model itself is very flexible to fit all the different needs. There is quite decent flexibility in identity resolution, and there are quite a lot of educational materials as well. Some of the like they have the courses and academy. Some of the maybe issues or shortcomings that we have seen, some of the documentation is not really maybe up to date always. There might be some difficulties in the customer support. There are not so many native data integrations and exchange with other platforms. So third-party platforms like your maybe e-commerce store, there probably will not be a native integration for it. Or if there is a native integration, it will be quite static, so you can't really be flexible with the data that you ingest. There is a little bit complex pricing model there. Like you need to kind of account for all the different functionalities that you will use as the from the CDP, and figure out the level that you need for maybe, for example, the activations or segments, etc. And they are very active in terms of engaging when you have reached these limits to kind of offer you upsells and kind of increase the limits. And there is this issue of that Alina covered as well, non-persistent unified IDs, that is quite unique to Salesforce Data Cloud. And if you require really persistent unified customer profile ID that doesn't change ever, then you might not want to go with Salesforce Data Cloud. Bloomreach, a very nice UI for the platform. So it's easier than Salesforce, I would say, for sure. Generally, the event setup and data ingestion is not too complex. There is detailed documentations and good academy. There's very good support and kind of very engaged also customer success managers that really want you to be successful with the platform. When we look at, it's also not so expensive, so it can be a good, really good solution for smaller, medium-sized businesses that are not requiring super kind of huge and extensive integrations, and they have a lot of the out-of-the-box integrations with the other platforms. Some of the things to consider when going with Bloomreach is that pricing is generally based on event volumes, so you want to keep that in mind when you set up also your plans for the CDP integration and data ingestion. There is some learning curve for, of course, activating this data in email configurations and campaigns and scenarios, so automated journeys. But that's generally will be with any platform, actually. There is one note about like there's Jinja syntax. That's something specific to Bloomreach. So that's something small that needs to be learned to really reference some event or customer attributes, and maybe not the best QA features for event and data ingestion. But overall, Bloomreach is a really nice platform, and we can definitely recommend it, at least based on our experience and based on our customer experience and feedback. There is a segment, so this is a really good, it was also in the Magic Quadrants, you probably saw. They have a lot of integrations. They have very robust data governance layer, so you can do a lot of the data cleaning and data governance normalization and all of this within the platform itself. Good UI, fully compliant, quite good integrations, and they have very good AI-powered audience segmentation options, and also native email and SMS engagement channels. Again, this platform, though, can be a bit more pricey. And so you, again, it's based on monthly tracked users, so you need to kind of take into account that as well. And there is one maybe other shortcoming is that there are not really good advanced reporting features within the platform itself, so you can't really use, so you need another BI solution. Inside their CDP, again, similar to also Bloomreach, generally. But what we have seen, there are fewer, like what are some of the shortcomings? There are fewer total integrations. So they don't have thousands of different integrations. So you really want to evaluate it if it fits your platforms that you use. Again, pricing is a little bit complex, and it's based on monthly tracked users and monthly tracked kind of accounts and channels, and so there's quite a few things that are considered into the pricing. And we've seen also quite a few cases where there are bugs and functionality errors that really don't match kind of the messaging, sales messaging that is done for the platform itself in terms of the features and how it will work for you. So be careful with that. There's also Adobe real-time CDP. This is though only viable use case if you go if you already are on Adobe tool stack. So you have the customer journey analytics, you have Adobe Experience Manager and Campaign Manager and Commerce maybe. So then really it can be a viable solution. Otherwise, it cannot be used as a standalone CDP. There is PIMCore. They generally are started with product information management, but then also have now CDP functionalities, and they are kind of more open source and also flexible, but again require more upfront investment for the integration. And Ruder stack is very similar as well. So you kind of it's very flexible. It's sort of open source as well. You might have lower costs for running the platform, but bigger costs for initially integrating and needing people like data people to actually work quite a lot. And let's talk about what is the kind of steps for actually implementing it. And I love this kind of thing that step one is to actually assemble the data nerds, the people that work with data. And Alina will also cover a little bit from her experience in terms of what are the skills needed as well for CDP integrations and what we require when we also are setting up for our clients.
Yes, as a representative of the group, let's go here. So team setup. Yes, of course, you need a plan, you need a budget, but what matters a lot and sometimes the most is the humans, the people you work with. So first of all, business users. These are not the people who are going to do the work with their hands, but they are still very, very important here because this can be different roles in the company, but these are people who are expected to work with the CDP and the activations. These are people who know the customer. It is very important sometimes when you work with the data and you have questions like, is this okay? Is this expected? And yeah, people who know the data, because sometimes you see values and you're like, okay, is it okay? Or is it data that we have to clean? Are there any explanations? How do we have to act with this? And these people will have to communicate with you and help with that. And these people can also be the project stakeholders, and sometimes you also need additional PMs. The next one is about technical specialists, CDP specialists, data analytics engineers, and BI specialists. But in any case, it's not about titles, it's about the skills of people and the personal interests, especially if you have a lot of data people working in your company. Next slide. Yeah, let's talk about the difference of these three categories in detail. So folk number one, CDP specialist. This is a person who has to have experience with CDPs, extensive knowledge of them. They have to know how to work on customer data integration and unification. They also have to be aware of some data privacy regulations, some GDPR, CCPA, whatever applies to your market. Then they have to understand the segmentation, the customer journey mapping. And overall, they have to have experience with the CDP tools and marketing tech stacks. The next one is the data engineer. Yeah, so in essence, they have to know how to work with the pipelines, ETL processes. They have to have some knowledge of SQL or Python or whatever programming language they work with. Data warehouses, databases, they have to work with data quality, consistency, and accessibility. But in some cases, if you need something very, very advanced in your pipelines, you may even need a developer. And the picture is just how it sometimes feels to work on the pipelines and BI side. So the next slide. Yeah, this is the last person here, BI specialist. Because, okay, you have the setup, you have the CDP, you have some data flow into activations, but it's also important to report on the setup, especially once you have this unified customer view. And these people have to be skilled in data visualization and in dashboard creations. Of course, they have to know how to work with business KPIs. They have to have the knowledge of BI tools, preferably the ones you use in your organization. Yeah, that is it on the BI side. And here is we have a visualization on how the cooperation goes on a high level. So first of all, you have business users. They have to share the business context and requirements with the CDP specialist. And then the CDP specialist defines the requirements and sources for the data engineer. Then the data engineer builds pipelines and integrations for the CDP. And then the CDP specialist does the work inside of the CDP, let's say configures the data model, customer profiles, overall consult on the integration. And then you have the data in the CDP. And then the BI analyst takes the data and combines it with any other data sources needed. And then they deliver the insights and reports to business users. And in addition to this, you have project managers or other stakeholders who help on the project. Yeah, and actually, to keep you updated, we have very, very little slides left. So the tech stack, yeah, in short, it depends, but you need to have a CDP unless you go with a composite approach of custom development on the warehouse. Then you need to have some places where the data is stored. So it can be data generation sources, it can be data warehouses or lake houses. Overall, if you have a lot of Excel sheets here and there, it's just nice to centralize that. And also, if you plan to do transformations outside of the CDP, you will have to have some cloud tools for transformations. And sometimes you can have the manual component. It may be okay in the beginning, but if it can be automated, automate it. And yeah, BI tool. And to leave a comment here, in some CDPs, you already have some BI reporting, and it may be enough for you. But in some cases, you just need to integrate the CDP data in your greater BI reporting. And you see the scheme of how everything works together. You have data generation sources. The data goes into warehouse, can also go straight to the CDP. In warehouse, you can have pipelines. You output some additional data, goes back to warehouse, then this data goes to the CDP. CDP sends data to the data activation targets, and then the data from the warehouse and CDP can go into the BI tool. And the next slides.
Yeah, we have just a couple of examples. So how the Bloomreach ecosystem can look like. So with the e-commerce store, with online web behavior, with physical stores, SMSs, emails, and product information, and then the activation targets. Some of them are the same as well. And this one we already looked at. So this is the Salesforce Data Cloud example. And again, quite similar. This one as well has like a BI platform. In this case, it's a Looker Studio. That's it, guys. I am sorry, but that we took a little bit longer, but I hope really it was useful and you did get some takeaways for your own cases. Either you are already using a CDP and having a CDP, and so maybe you got some ideas for how what additional segments or data integrations you might do, or activations. Or if you're not having a CDP yet, then you might really want to consider or then you might have even more learnings to use. Good. We have not a lot of time, but we can have some, I guess, questions. We have a question about insiders. So, any kind of insights on Yotpo and Coho AI CDPs? Uh, Honestly, no. We haven't worked with them on practice, so I wouldn't want to give. I have, uh, yeah, not too much hands-on experience that we could share. Sorry. Uh, what is the CDP scandiweb uses? That's a good question. That's a good question. We use Salesforce actually as well. But yeah, so Salesforce. Do you find it good? Have you seen our engagement? Is it personalized? Hopefully it is. Hopefully it is. We try. We try a bit. All right.
There
Kristaps,
is one
was
more
there?
question.
Okay, good. Which one?
Sub CDP versus Salesforce. And yeah, actually, one more factor which we have not covered directly when you plan, you have to see what other tools you utilize, and what ecosystem you have. Because the thing about Salesforce, it makes a lot of sense if you use other Salesforce tools. Let's say you are going crazy with marketing in the marketing cloud, or you have their tool for retail commerce, or also you have their CRM, then of course a Salesforce CDP makes sense for you. And for SAP, if you have a lot of other tools from their ecosystem, it can make greater sense for you.
Yeah. Uh,
But
yeah. You wanted to mention something else? Overall, yeah, so they are, I think, quite similar in terms of how they build the ecosystems and have different types of solutions, SAP and Salesforce. So I don't think we actually had as well like a practical case with SAP, so wouldn't be able to really share too much kind of possible things to consider when going with it. But I have heard quite good feedback on from some of the merchants using SAP, so it can be a quite decent solution. All right. Good, good, good. Then, yes, of course, you will also get the recording. You will also get the materials. And we did this webinar for the first time on CDPs. Next time, we might shorten it, optimize it a little bit to really fit into the timeline. I'm sorry that, for those people that didn't manage to stay until the end. And of course, we are really excited about unifying customer data and building much better customer experiences for a lot of different cases. So feel free to also reach out if you want to talk more about what can be best for your use case. And we are, yeah, very happy overall to consider. We also like a lot different challenges that really also challenge us in terms of the solutions that we can provide. And yeah, we are here to support, and we also have quite a bit of materials that we generally want and are sharing in our blog as well, case studies, just learnings, and so some of the things that we have learned and that are maybe not covered in documentations of different platforms can be still accessed through our knowledge sharing as well. And yeah, thank you so much everybody for joining. Hopefully again it was useful. So see you at the next webinar or on the next call if you reach out. All right.